Quiet now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. You're going to dance until your feet fall off. You're not able to stand up any longer. But we're going to have a show.
Welcome to the Pink Door Podcast.
It's great to be back, ready to jump into some really interesting numbers today.
So I want to set the scene a little bit. When you think real estate in January, especially on the South Shore, like a town like Pembroke, what's the first image that comes to mind?
Oh, cold, quiet, frozen.
Exactly. That's what I picture, a frozen landscape, right? Snowbanks, for sale signs, half buried in the drift.
Yeah, and agents are all down in Florida playing golf.
Right. And buyers are just sitting on the couch, wrapped in blankets, maybe waiting for the Super Bowl to be over before they even think about opening Zillow.
That's the traditional story, for sure. We always call it the hibernation month. The assumption is nothing really happens between New Year's and, say, Valentine's Day.
But we have a serious stack of documents here today that suggest that whole story is just, well, dead wrong.
Completely wrong.
We're looking at the January 2026 market update for Pembroke. And honestly, if you're a buyer or a seller thinking it's hibernation season, you are already losing.
You really are. We've gone through everything. The RPR market activity reports, the MLS PIN data, and the actual ledgers for every single house that went active, pending, or sold in January. And the story here isn't about sleep.
No, it's about a sprint.
It is a sprint in the middle of a blizzard.
A track meet in blizzard. I like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to decode these numbers today because two huge things are jumping out at me. First, an inventory shortage that is, it's bordering on a crisis.
It really is.
And second, this price disconnect, a gap between what people are asking for their houses and what they're actually selling for that is so wide, it's genuinely confusing.
It is confusing until you start peeling back the layers and looking at the actual addresses involved.
Right. So our mission today is to figure this out. Is this a bubble? Is Pembroke turning into a luxury town overnight? And if you're listening and you need to move this year, what on earth are you supposed to do? So let's start with what I'm calling the seller's fortress.
I like that. It's a good name for it.
It really feels like it. If you're a seller, you're sitting in a castle right now. What's the one headline number that proves that?
The number you have to burn into your memory is 0.72.
0.72.
That is the months of inventory for Pembroke in January 2026.
Okay, so we talk about months of inventory a lot, but for someone who might just be tuning in, can you break that down? What does that mean in the real world?
Sure. Think of it like a grocery store shelf. In let's say, a perfectly balanced market where buyers and sellers have equal power, you want 5 to 6 months of supply.
Okay.
That means if no new trucks came with more soup, the store would sell out in 6 months.
Got it. 5 to 6 months is normal. Everyone's happy.
Exactly. Now, Pembroke has 0.72. That means if not a single new house was listed, the entire town would be sold out of real estate.
Wait, completely sold out?
Empty shelves. And it would happen in about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So by the time I finish a new show on Netflix, the town's inventory is just gone.
Pretty much, yeah. It puts all the power, all the leverage right in the hands of the seller. Anything under 6 months is a seller's market. Under 1 month is what we call an extreme seller's market.
And that scarcity must just drive speed, right? People have to be panicking.
Panic might be a strong word, but urgency is absolutely through the roof.
Well, I'm looking at the days on market data, and there's something here that I think would confuse people. One report says median days on market is 32.5.
Right.
But the RPR data says median days in RPR is only 8. What's with the difference?
This is such a crucial distinction. That 32.5 days number, that usually tracks the entire process, from listing all the way until the deed is recorded.
Okay, so that includes the mortgage paperwork, the inspections, all the boring stuff.
Exactly, the administrative time.
Yeah.
But the 8 days, that's the operational speed. That's the time from the sign going in the yard to an offer being accepted.
So that's the buyer's actual window.
That is your only window of opportunity.
8 days in the dead of winter
Yeah.
in January.
It's blistering speed. Normally in winter, you'd expect that number to creep up 20, maybe 30 days. People don't like moving in the snow.
No, it's a nightmare.
But 8 days tells us there's just this massive pent-up demand. These buyers did not take a holiday break.
So practically speaking, if I see a house listed on a Thursday, and I think, I'll go check that out next weekend.
You are absolutely 100% too late. You are looking at a house that's already sold.
Wow.
In an 8-day market, if you don't see it within 48 hours and write an offer by Sunday night, you just aren't buying that house.
That kind of pressure. That's where mistakes happen. But let's talk about the money, because this is the part of the data where I had to stop and reread it.
Ah, yes. The gap.
Yeah,
It's hard to miss.
it is massive. Okay, so the median sold price for January, what people actually paid,
Yeah.
is around $610,000.
Right. A healthy number, up about 5.8% month over month. Very steady, respectable appreciation.
Totally. But then I look at the median list price for the active listings,
Yeah.
asking price, and it's $922,450. That is a $300,000 difference. The list price is up almost 38% in a month. What is going on?
Yeah.
Did everyone in Pembroke just decide their house is worth $1 million?
This is a classic case of why averages can be so misleading if you don't look at the individual ledger. It's not that every home's value shot up 30%. That's impossible.
Yeah.
It's all about the mix of what's currently for sale.
So the active inventory is skewed.
Heavily skewed. Remember, there's only 0.72 months of inventory, so the total number of listings is tiny. When your sample size is that small, one or two outliers can completely torch the average.
Ah, so you did the detective work.
Yeah.
Who are the outliers?
I did. So you look at the active list and you find 77 Old Cart Path Lane. That's listed at $1.63 million.
Okay, wow.
And then you have 60 Summer Pathway, which is a huge 5,000 square foot luxury home listed at $1.55 million.
Right, so you drop $2.5 million homes into a small bucket of $600,000 homes, and suddenly the average looks like 900 grand.
Precisely. And those luxury homes, they just naturally sit on the market longer. The buyer pool is smaller.
While the regular bread and butter houses are just flying off the shelf.
They fly. They move from active to sold in 8 days, so they barely even register in that monthly snapshot of what's active. The active column is just left holding the expensive bag.
That is such a key insight. So it's not a bubble. It's more like the affordable stuff just evaporates instantly, and the expensive stuff lingers.
That's the perfect way to put it. The sold price of $610,000, that's the reality on the street. That list price of $922,000, it's a statistical mirage.
Okay, let's get down to that reality on the street.
Yeah.
I want to know what actually sold in January, because asking a price is one thing, but getting a check is another. And these sold properties, it looks like a battlefield.
It is. If you want to see what the competition looks like, just look at 137 Spring Street.
I have that one right here. It's a front-to-back split, 3 beds, 2 baths, just a classic solid Pembroke house.
Totally classic. It was listed for $699,000. Now, in a normal market, you'd expect an offer maybe a little under, maybe asking price.
Right.
It closed in January for $760,000.
Wow. So that's, what is that, $61,000 over asking price?
$61,000 over ask. And that single sale validates another stat in our report. The sold to list price ratio is 100.2%.
Meaning, on average, no one is negotiating down.
No one. The list price is the starting bid. Buyers are escalating. And it wasn't a one-off. Look at 18 Thrasher Avenue.
Right. The Colonial.
Listed at $699,900. It sold for $715,000. Again, over ask.
It really feels like that $600K to $750K range is the danger zone. That's where the fight is.
It's the sweet spot of the market, which makes it the most painful for buyers. You have first-timers stretching their budget and downsizers trying to sell their bigger homes, all fighting for the exact same house.
But I did see one that broke the pattern.
Yeah.
62 Woodbine Avenue. It actually went for a little under.
Yes, the cottage. It sold for $425,000, which was just under its $435,000 list price.
So what's the story there? Why no bidding war?
It's a good reality check. It tells us that buyers are frantic, but they aren't completely blind. It was a smaller property, likely needed some updates, or was just priced a little too aggressively for what it was.
So you can't just put a sign in the yard of a fixer-upper and expect the moon.
Exactly. It shows the value still has to be there. Buyers will overpay for move-in ready because they're terrified of renovation costs. But if it needs work, they'll hesitate.
Okay, let's pivot to the buyers who are probably having a panic attack listening to this. Is there anything new coming on the market?
There is a little glimmer of hope. We saw 9 new listings pop up in January, and what's interesting is the diversity.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
For an entry-level buyer, there's 269 Washington Street, Unit C3, a condo listed at $449,000. I mean, finding anything with a 4 in front of it in Pembroke is getting rare.
Under $500,000 is basically endangered species on the South Shore.
Then you have your solid mid-range. 131 Elmer Street came on at $699,000. Now, based on what happened on Spring Street,
That house is going to be a war zone.
absolutely, that is exactly the type of home that attracts a bidding war. It's priced right in that sweet spot.
But then there's this other one, 285 Elm Street, listed at $749,900, but it's been on the market for 64 days.
Yes, and in an 8-day market, 64 days is an eternity.
It's practically ancient history. So is
Yeah.
that a red flag or an opportunity?
It really depends. Usually when a house sits that long, it's about price or condition. If it needs a new kitchen at that price point, buyers might just scroll right past it.
But if I'm a buyer who just lost out on Spring Street,
Exactly. While everyone else is fighting over the shiny new object on Elmer Street, a savvy buyer might circle back to 285 Elm. Maybe that seller is getting tired. Maybe they're ready to make a deal. That's where you might actually get one below ask.
zig when others zag. I like that. So what about the pipeline for February?
I don't see a slowdown. We have 10 properties marked pending right now. That includes 198 Elm Street at $724,900. That volume is just going to roll right into next month's sold data.
Okay, so let's synthesize this. The so what factor. If I'm a seller in Pembroke listening to this, do I list now? Or do I wait for the classic spring market?
The data gives a very, very clear answer. This is the market. Do not wait.
Why not? Wouldn't April bring out more buyers?
It might bring more buyers, but it will definitely bring more sellers, more competition.
Yeah.
Right now, with 0.72 months of inventory, you are the only game in town.
If you wait until May.
You might be one of 10 similar homes on the market. You dilute your power. The time to get a bidding war is when scarcity is at its absolute peak, and that's right now.
So, strike while the shelf is empty.
Precisely.
Okay, sellers, get the sign in the yard. Now for the buyers, it sounds incredibly stressful. What's the strategy to win in this market without losing your mind?
Preparation and speed. You can't be a casual browser.
That 8-day window.
Right. If you walk into an open house and say, I love it, I'll call a mortgage broker on Monday, you've already lost. You need to be fully underwritten, not just pre-qualified, before you even get in the car.
You have to be as good as a cash offer.
As close as you can possibly get. And you have to adjust your price expectations. Remember that 100.2% sold to list ratio. If your max budget is $700,000, you shouldn't be looking at houses listed for $700,000.
Because that house is going to sell for $750,000.
Exactly. You should be looking at homes listed around $650,000 so you have that room to escalate. You need that dry powder for the bidding war.
That's tough love, but people need to hear it. The list price is an invitation, not a price tag.
It's an opening bid. You can't play 2019 negotiation games in a 2026 market. It just won't work.
You know, the one thing I want to end on is that price gap we talked about, the psychology of it.
The gap between the median value and the list price, yeah.
Right. The median estimated value of a home in Pembroke is around $670,000. That's what the algorithms think the town is worth. But the median list price is way up at $922,000 because of those luxury homes.
It creates this sort of identity crisis for the town.
It really does. And I want to leave the listener with this question. Are we watching Pembroke transition into a luxury market, pulling all the other values up with it? Or are we going to see a split market, a tale of two Pembrokes where the million-dollar homes sit and the middle market just continues to burn white hot?
That is the trend to watch for the rest of the year. If 77 Old Cart Path sells for its asking price, it lifts the ceiling for everybody. If it sits for 6 months, the gap remains.
We will definitely be keeping an eye on it. Feels like the start of a very interesting year.
Absolutely. Not a hibernation year at all.
Not even close. If you have any questions about this episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore, from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Aldred a call. He would love to speak with you. Jim believes that people in transition feel anxious about buying or selling a home, and he provides them with the guidance and security to help your family move on smoothly. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Pink Door Podcast.